So the author Rob Bell tells this great story that stuck with me for many, many years about a time that he took his son to the beach. He said the whole time his little boy is out there picking up all these beautiful shells and he's so excited. He's looking at all the shells on the beach that he finds and he starts shoving them in his swimsuit pockets, in his front pocket, in his back pocket. But then he gets so many shells that he starts holding them in one hand and starts shoving them in one hand, and then he starts picking them up in the other hand. And he's got his hands just full of shells. He's got his pocket full of shells when all of a sudden Rob said that he saw a starfish coming up onto the shore. And he yells at his son. He says, go get the starfish. Go get the starfish. And the boy runs towards the starfish. But then he looks back at his dad and he's crying. And he says, well, why can't you get the starfish? And he says, because my hands are full of shells. Now, I love this story, and it's stuck with me because I think it's true for us, too. I think sometimes there might be something great out there for us to kind of go and get, but it's really hard for us because we're holding too many good things in our hands and our pockets already. Maybe the greatest thing is that thing in front of us, but we're going to talk today about what it means for us to let go of some of those good things. We're going to talk today about why no is sometimes the hardest thing to say. Now, I truly believe that no is one of the hardest things to say, but it's probably, if we're really honest, one of the most holy things to say. But you know what I hate? Conflict. I think you probably hate conflict too. There's only a few people, so maybe Enneagram 8s that really super enjoy it. Maybe it's the Midwest nice in me, or maybe it's the peacemaker in me, but I do not like conflict in my life. And I think sometimes more than I'd like to admit, I think I say yes because I'm trying to avoid conflict. I say yes even though I don't have time for the thing because I'm afraid that I might get some pushback if I say no. Has this ever happened to you? You're afraid you'll say no, or that you're afraid you're going to disappoint them, or maybe they won't like you, or maybe they'll disagree with you, or then you'd have to deal with it. And so sometimes we people please and we go and we say yes. You see, I think if it's true in our culture that what we actually say yes to is beyond our actual ability in our culture. You see, in today's day and age, our work is broader and we keep pushing for bigger and brighter and better. But what we don't realize is that productivity, being productive, is a trap. You see, we're sold this message day in and day out that our life is about what we accomplish, and this scatters our thoughts away from our actual purpose. We can be in a work meeting and our phone can be down on the table, but our brains will just even distract us with this litany of expectation. You know what this is like. All the expectations that we kind of put on ourselves and are programmed to experience in our society. Things like our brain will get going and we'll sit there and think, oh, well, did I make that doctor's appointment? And I need to also pick up laundry detergent. And did I pay the association fees? And I think my kid needs a new swimsuit and definitely new shoes. And has the dog been fed? Does the dog have the meds? I need to make that kennel appointment for when we're going to go out of town. And did my husband actually book the Airbnb, or do I need to make sure and follow up that he did it? And then also, I probably need to work out, pray, wash my face, moisturize, do all of those things. We live in this world that has this litany of expectation. And let's be honest, it's too much. Is too much. The expectation of what we think that we can accomplish in a day is higher than it has ever been before in all humanity. My friends, productivity is a trap. You see, we keep striving for this work-life balance. You hear it all the time. We keep saying, oh, I just need to find my work-life balance. If I just found this work-life balance thing, then I'll be okay. But here's the truth. The work-life balance, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I haven't met a single person that actually feels like they have a work-life balance. Even retired people. Retired people don't even have work-life balances. They they sit there and say, you know what, I don't have enough time to do all the things I want to do, or I have too much time and I don't actually do anything. There's no work-life balance there either, proving that we are striving for something. We've been sold this lie for something that doesn't exist. I think for so many of us, we're holding all these good things in our hands, just like that little boy. And they're all worthy, they're all important, they're all good, but without letting some of them go, without some breathing room or some margin, without some space, we can't actually go after the things that we really want. We can't actually go grab that starfish. So what does God encourage us to do? Say no. Say no to some of those good things. Paul talks about this pretty boldly in the book of Romans, chapter 12. He says this. He says, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, because this is your true and proper prayer. And then he says this, do not conform to the powers of this world, to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then you'll be able to test and approve what's God's will, what's God's good and pleasing will. What I think he's saying there is maybe try one thing and see if this is the thing that God is your starfish. Maybe try this one, and if it's not your starfish, then go and let it go. This is what Paul continues. He says, for by grace I have given every one of you. Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, each in accordance with the faith that God has distributed to each of you. Just as each of us has a body with many members, these members do not all have the same function. So in Christ, we have one body, but each member belongs to all the others. We have all been given different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then you prophesy. You grab that starfish. If your gift is serving, then you serve. Or you let go of these other things and you grab that starfish. If your gift is teaching, then you go and teach. You let go of those other things and you go grab the teaching. Encouragement, generosity, leading, all of those things, whatever it is of yours. Sometimes we have to let go of the other things that we maybe are just not good at. You see, we're not supposed to be able to do everything, but we are supposed to be able to do it together. So I want you to think about this as you rest here today. How is not saying no affecting your life? And here's my other question for you. Given that you have about 4,000 weeks here in your lifespan, where do your values match your gifts? And how are you spending time in those places? Remember, sometimes I really truly believe that no is the most holy thing we could ever say.